Dream, boyhood dream. I use this word in particular when I talk about the adventures with Whiskey Blue, my Cessna 170. But what is a dream? What is a boyhood dream? And above all, what is my boyhood dream? Well, let's see. I'm Wolf, I'm a retired physicist and a glide and tailwheel pilot. For me, the word dream has two meanings. One is the classical one. It's the movie we are watching while we're asleep, the dream during the night. And the other one pops up during the day. It's kind of a fantasy, this kind of mostly unobtainable desire of something. And for me, in my boyhood dream, those two meanings come together. And of course, they have to do with my fascination for flying. My parents picked up very early on that, so they gave me toy airplanes to play with, and later on they gave me books to read about pilots, about flying, about aviation in general. And one of these books was called The Arctic Bush Pilot. And he talks about a young pilot who has just gotten his license, who ferried a 170 from the factory in Wichita all the way up to Fairbanks, Alaska. And there he stayed on to help a friend of his, the owner of the 170, in his work as a bush pilot. He flew with wheels on floats and on skis. It was a great read. I read it many times. And soon enough, it would make its way into my dream. I was the little guy who flew a 170, flying around trying to find Alaska. It was great. And after I read it many times more, it eventually also made it into my daydream. Wouldn't it be cool to fly once in my life a silvery red Cessna 170 across the US into Canada and maybe even up to Alaska? Well, even as a child, owning an airplane in the US was just beyond what I could imagine. So the dream went to sleep again. And that dream popped up more than 50 years later. It was in the introductory session of a workshop on visual arts which I participated in. The person who taught the workshop asked every one of us to give a brief overview of our hobbies and where we wanted to go with our art. So of course, when he talked to me, the topic of flying came up. And in the end he asked me, well, if money was no issue, if you had all the time in the world, how would you incorporate your flying activities in an arts project? And without thinking, something in me said, well, I would buy a Cessna tail dragger and spend a summer flying across the US, camping under the wing, and take pictures of all my experiences. Wow, there it was, my boyhood dream again. It woke up. But even then, I couldn't think of any way of realizing that dream. Several weeks later, on a hike with a very good friend of mine, who also participated in that workshop, a Cessna flew overhead. And when she heard the sound, she asked me, well, how is your project coming along? What project? I asked. Well, the one with the Cessna plane there. I don't have the money. I can't afford that, I said. Of course you can. You buy the plane and then you sell it. You lose a little bit of money, but that's okay. Well, anyway, she got me thinking, what kind of airplane would I use? Would it be a Cessna? Would it be something else? Where would I fly? And every time I started to think a little bit about it, I got drawn deeper and deeper and deeper in it. So I focused more on the type of the plane. I looked more into different routes to Canada and into Alaska. And of course there were all those doubts. Do I really want to spend that money, my retirement money, on funding this kind of crazy outlandish adventure? Back and forth and back and forth. I couldn't let go of that dream. So, if you want to know if and how that dream got realized, stay with me. I will publish a couple more videos describing the entire process. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.